Hello, my name is Sam Gray, and I am the curator at the Auburn Duesenberg Automobile Museum. Every month, we do a curatorial spotlight, which is a presentation about a certain topic. We typically pair them in themes and conduct these presentations at the museum on the second Sunday of each month at 2 p.m. However, due to current circumstances, we did not have a presentation this month. Therefore, I am giving this presentation virtually. Without further ado, let's start. The theme for April, May, and June, in conjunction with the Auburn Duesenberg Club's theme for the 2020 annual reunion, which takes place in Auburn over Labor Day weekend, is focusing on women behind the wheel. We will explore some notable women owners and drivers of Auburn, Cord, and Duesenberg automobiles, women workers of the Auburn Automobile Company, and, in June, a walking tour of the museum. This presentation is titled Women with Their Auburns, Cords, and Duesenbergs. From actresses, authors, and athletes, we will explore a few select women who owned one of these classics. Please note that this is not a complete list by any means, but a selection featuring women of varying professions and ownership. Mae West, 1893 to 1980. Mae West was an American actress, singer, playwright, screenwriter, and comedian whose involvement in the entertainment business spans 7 decades. The American Film Institute named her the 15th greatest female star of classic American cinema. Mae West became interested in purchasing a Duesenberg and was slated to receive a special-built Duesenberg J553 town car designed by Herb Newport, who also designed the 2 Duesenberg SSJs. However, she couldn't wait for her car to be built, so she instead purchased a 1934 Duesenberg J370, a Murphy-body convertible coupe pictured in this slide. The town car eventually was purchased by Ethel Mars, heiress to the Mars Candy Company. Evidently, Mrs. West reportedly did not know how to drive an automobile and instead enjoyed, quote, buying a nice car for someone else to drive me around in. She owned the Duesenberg for a small number of years. The Duesenberg still exists today and is privately owned. Note that it is of the disappearing top, has disc wheel covers, and features skirted fenders. Mabel Boll, 1893 to 1949. Mabel Boll was an American socialite who was involved in selling cigars, horse riding, record-setting airplane flights, and jewelry. She competed with Amelia Earhart and offered large monetary rewards to be the first woman to fly across the Atlantic Ocean. She was later known as the Queen of Diamonds due to the amount of jewelry she would often wear in public. She married Colombian coffee king Hernando Roca in 1922, who presented her with over $1 million in jewelry and a 46.5-carat emerald diamond ring. In 1933, she purchased a Fernet-bodied Duesenberg sunroof sedan J365. Commonly referred to as just Frenet, the designer's name is Jean-Baptiste Frenet, who embodied some of Europe's most stunning coach designs for Duesenbergs and other marques. At the time of her purchase of the Duesenberg, she had married Count Henri de Procheri of Poland and was known as Countess Procheri. Boll drove it for a few years in Europe and ultimately left it behind in her French villa in 1936, where it remained and passed through several different owners. The Duesenberg later carried her name and continues today to be commonly referred to as the Queen of Diamonds Duesenberg. It still exists today and is also privately owned. According to historian Ray Wolfe, J365 was delivered new to France, where it was first fitted as a town car body by the French coach builder Kellner. However, it was not sold with the town car body, which it was believed to be taken off and placed on J516. Instead, J365 was fitted with a sport sedan body with a sliding sunroof, divider window, and skirted rear fenders. It was exhibited in the Paris Auto Salon in 1931 and 1932. The Duesenberg eventually made it to the United States in the early 1970s. Countess Anna Anthofer Ingraham of Austria, 1858 to 1944, heiress to the American clock and watch fortune. This Duesenberg town car was built by J. Gerald Kirchhoff specifically for Countess Ingraham at a cost of nearly $25,000, making it amongst the most expensive Duesenbergs ever built. The Countess gave Kirchhoff free rein to build this automobile. The interior features hand-embroidered silk brocade upholstery, cabinetry of inlaid bird's-eye maple, and brass hardware plated in 24-karat gold. The exterior was finished in a bright metallic aqua. The design included a large trunk and rooftop luggage rack to hold the vast quantities of luggage for planned European travels. A tank for portable water was installed, and solid disc wheels were fitted at all four corners for rough terrain. Today, the Duesenberg sports wire wheel tires. The next slide is of Countess Ingraham's Duesenberg, particularly the unique interior. Here we see two photos of Countess Ingraham's Duesenbergs, particularly the unique interior. The photo on the left is how it was photographed in her possession, and the photo on the right is when it was sold at auction in 2017. Note the silk brocade upholstery. On the left of each photo, you can somewhat see the bird's eye maple cabinetry, and you can see the brass hardware plated in the 24-karat gold in the pictures as well. Greta Garbo, 1905 to 1990. Greta Garbo was a Swedish-American film actress during the 1920s and 30s. The American Film Institute ranked her 5th on their list of greatest female stars of classic Hollywood cinema. She retired from acting in 1941 and led a quiet, private life, never to return to acting again. This 1933 Duesenberg J481 is a convertible Victoria body style built by Ferdinand and Darren of Paris, France. They produced bodies for only 4 Duesenbergs, all with the convertible Victoria body style. It was first displayed at the 1932 Paris Auto Salon. This one, sold new to Greta Garbo, is distinguishable due to its shape and lack of running boards. It has a Romo French safety bumper instead of the typical Duesenberg bumper, and an extended rear end with an outside trunk and 2 rear-mounted spare wheels. The convertible Victoria body style was perfect for Garbo to travel in relative secrecy. It is also rumored that the Duesenberg included 7 or 8 secret compartments where Garbo kept some of her jewelry and makeup. It is important to note, however, that Garbo herself claims that she never owned Duesenberg. Indeed, no known photos exist of her with or inside of the automobile. Perhaps it was bought as a gift for Garbo or was never registered in her name. The Duesenberg exists today and still carries with it that air of mystique. Ethel Mars, 1884 to 1945. Ethel Veronica Mars was an American businesswoman and racehorse owner. In 1910, she married Clarence Mars, founder of the Mars Candy Company, and became CEO of the company and the sole heir to then one of America's largest fortunes. Originally designed for Mae West, as mentioned in the first slide, this 1935 Duesenberg SJ 553 town car, bodied by Bowman and Schwartz, was instead purchased by Ethel Mars on April 14, 1935. It was designed by Herbert Newport, who was then working for Bowman and Schwartz. Such a fine motor car came with an equally prestigious price tag, reported to be around $20,000, which is about $375,000 today. That alone was enough to get the Duesenberg a mention in the November 16, 1936 issue of Time magazine, where it was described as the costliest car in the United States. Bowman and Schwartz only built bodies for 9 Duesenbergs, of which 5 of those were rebodied, making SJ 553 one of only 4 original bodies. Ethel Mars only kept the Duesenberg for a few years before selling it, as her horse racing income began to decline. Bill Harrah owned the Duesenberg in the 1960s, and it passed along to several other owners. Sleek and aerodynamic, and fitted with a supercharged version of the Model J engine, this Duesenberg produced 320 horsepower. The driver's compartment is trimmed with black ostrich leather and the rear compartment in a deep burgundy with matching upholstery. The Duesenberg exists today and was most recently sold at auction for $3.6 million in 2015. Sonja Henie, 1906 to 1969. Sonja Henie was a Norwegian figure skater. She was a three-time Olympic champion in women's singles in 1928, 1932, and 1936, a 10-time world champion from 1927 through 1936, and a 6-time European champion from 1931 through 1936. Henie won more Olympic and world's titles than any other ladies figure skater. She was also an actor and became one of the top-earning female actresses of the 1930s. One of her most well-known photographs, seen here, is posing with her 1936 Cord 810, which, naturally, the Cord Corporation used to help advertise the new car. Sonja Henie reportedly owned 2 Cord 810s. Amelia Earhart, 1897 to 1937. Amelia Earhart is best known for her aviation achievements, but the pilot also appreciated automobiles. She experienced her first flight in 1920 with racer Frank Hawks and realized, quote, "By the time I had got 200 or 300 feet off the ground, I knew I had to fly." In 1922, she set a world record for female pilots, and in 1923, she was the 16th woman to be issued a pilot's license in the United States. After conquering flight, Earhart bought her first automobile in 1924, a Kissel Goldbug Speedster, which she nicknamed the Yellow Peril, and drove across the United States. Nearly a decade later, she was approached by Hudson to be a spokesperson for their new Terraplane brand, which lasted from 1933 through 37 with the slogan, "On the sea, that's aquaplaning. In the air, that's aeroplaning. But on the land, in the traffic, on the hills, hot diggity dog, that's terraplaning." In 1937, her husband bought her a 1937 Cord 812 Phaeton. With its streamlined looks, distinct style, and hidden headlight features, it was the perfect car for an aviation pioneer. However, she was unable to enjoy the Cord for long, as she was lost on July 2, 1937, and declared deceased in 1939. Note that the photos of Amelia Earhart, including the ones with her Cord 812, are heavily copyrighted. The Auburn Cord Duesenberg Automobile Museum has high-resolution copies of the photos of her with her Cord, approved for all educational use, such as this PowerPoint. The Cord L29, produced from 1929 through 1931, was America's first successful mass-production front-wheel drive automobile. The car attracted the eye of Hollywood's finest, particularly the town car-bodied version. Only 4 Cord L29 town cars were known to be built. They were all bodied by the Walter M. Murphy Company of Pasadena, California. They sat on an extended wheelbase, 152.5 inches instead of 137.5. The 4 town cars were owned by Auburn Automobile Company President E.L. Cord, actor John Barrymore, and starlets Dolores Del Rio, pictured here, and Lola Montez. It is unclear how many of the Cord town cars exist, although Bonham's Auction Company sold a Cord town car, which they say belonged to Del Rio, in 2015 for $1,760,000. It is also unclear for how long these starlets owned these Cords as well. Beverly Ray Kimes, 1939 through 2008. Known as the Grand Dame of automotive history, Beverly Ray Kimes dedicated her life to researching every car, make, and model built in the United States, beginning with the steam-powered cars from 1805. Perhaps her best-known works are the Standard Catalog of American Cars, 1805 to 1942, the Classic Era, Packard, A History of the Motor Car and the Company, and the cars that Henry Ford built. She was also published in numerous publications such as Automobile Quarterly. Her work and her research has ensured that even the smallest and most forgotten of cars and companies within history have a spot amongst the rest and will not be forgotten. She was a fan of the Auburn Cord and Duesenberg makes, amongst many others. She personally owned and drove a 1930 Auburn 8-125 sport sedan, which she nicknamed Ralph. She spent a lot of time researching at the Auburn Cord Duesenberg Automobile Museum, and upon her death in 2008, Ralph was donated to the museum where it is currently on display. Shortly after, her entire research was also donated to the museum, where the museum is in the beginning stages of digitizing her research for public use. And finally, last but not least, women owners today. Today, women are very much a part of the car culture worldwide, with many owning and driving their favorite cars, including Auburn's Cords and Duesenbergs. Any visit to the Auburn Cord Duesenberg Club's annual reunion in Auburn, Indiana, or any ACD club driving meet that the club plans yearly, one would see a number of women driving, enjoying, and sharing the history of these classics. Thank you for watching and listening to this presentation. Hopefully, I will see you at the museum next month on May 10th at 2 p.m. as we continue our Women series with women workers of the Auburn Automobile Company. If you have any questions, concerns, or comments, please feel free to contact me at samg, that's SAMG, at automobilemuseum.org. Thank you.